The Distance Pilot Distronic helps the driver to maintain a certain speed and relative distance to other road users. In stop-and-go traffic, it assists the driver by moving off again automatically from a complete stop once traffic starts to flow again. On the open road, the Distance Pilot Distronic maintains the speed preset by the driver by accelerating or braking as required. If the vehicle approaches a slower-moving road user or a stationary vehicle, the function automatically and safely brakes the vehicle, if necessary, to a complete stop. Depending on the type of road, the system then remains ready to move off for a longer period of time, with a space ahead of the vehicle monitored by several sensors. Once the traffic starts to move again, the system accelerates the vehicle to the previous set speed and automatically maintains distance to the vehicle ahead without any action on the part of the driver. The Speed Limit Pilot recognizes speed limits and automatically adjusts the vehicle speed to the prescribed limit. Speed limits, as recognized via the camera or navigation system, are automatically adopted as the set speed by the Distance Pilot Distronic. The recognized speed limit is shown in the instrument cluster and adopted by the Distance Pilot Distronic. Using the camera, traffic sign recognition also extends to overhead gantries and temporary roadworks. Via the navigation system, implicit speed limits such as 100 km per hour on country roads or 50 km per hour in built-up areas can be recognized and are proactively taken into account, for example before entering towns. The steering pilot assists the driver with lateral control by helping to keep the vehicle in the center of its lane. On registering the lane markings, the system keeps the vehicle in its lane up to a speed of 210 km per hour, even in slight bends. When the lane markings are unclear, for example where there are roadworks, the system is still able to remain active by taking into account other vehicles and parallel structures such as guardrails and barriers. Even without markings, under suitable circumstances, the lateral guidance function assists the driver up to 130 km per hour. This intelligent swarm behavior greatly improves the standard of driving. Active Lane Change Assist assists the driver when overtaking or when moving to an adjacent lane. As soon as the driver activates the indicator for at least 2 seconds, the system assists with steering into the desired adjacent lane, as long as the sensors detect no vehicles in the safety zone. Active Lane Change Assist works on multi-lane roads which have been identified by the navigation module integrated into Command Online at speeds between 80 and 180 km per hour. Active Emergency Stop Assist brakes the vehicle to a standstill in its lane if it detects that the driver is no longer able to take control of the vehicle while moving. If the driver does not operate the steering wheel over a longer period while the steering pilot is active, the system gives the driver a visual and audible prompt to place his or her hands on the wheel. If there is no driver reaction by steering, accelerating, braking, or operating the touch control button on the steering wheel after several visual and acoustic warnings, the vehicle brakes to a standstill in its lane. At speeds below 60 km per hour, following traffic is warned via activation of the hazard warning flashes. The function is cancelled if the driver resumes control of the vehicle. Active Lane Keeping Assist helps to prevent unintended lane departure. Once the camera detects that road markings are being crossed unintentionally, the steering wheel vibrates to indicate that the driver should countersteer. In the first X stage, when crossing solid road markings, there is an additional one-sided braking intervention to actively guide the vehicle back into its lane. In the driving assistance package, the sensors also monitor the traffic in the adjacent lane. If there is a risk of collision, for example with oncoming traffic, or if the adjacent lane is occupied, the one-sided braking intervention is also initiated when broken lane markings are crossed. Blind Spot Assist warns against side collisions with other vehicles when changing lanes. When the radar sensors register another vehicle in or about to enter the blind spot, a red hazard warning triangle appears in the relevant exterior mirror. Depending on the situation, an audible warning is also sounded as soon as the indicators are operated. Active blind spot assist goes another step further. If the driver begins to change lanes despite the warning, the belt tensioners in the interior are activated as a preventive occupant protection measure. At the same time, there is a one-sided braking intervention to prevent a side collision higher than those of the standard system thanks to the fusion of radar and camera data. When the system detects the danger of a collision with a vehicle ahead, it first reacts with a visual and acoustic warning. If the driver reacts to the situation and operates the brake pedal, active brake assist applies the most effective brake pressure, even if the pedal pressure is too weak, right up to full emergency braking. If there is no driver reaction, the system can initiate autonomous braking up to 250 km per hour. Up to 100 km per hour, active brake assist, as part of the driving assistance package, also reacts to stationary vehicles, and at up to 70 km per hour also to pedestrians in the danger area ahead of the vehicle, and can therefore prevent accidents at up to approximately 70 km per hour. In the same way, the cross-traffic function provides protection against a collision with crossing traffic at up to approximately 70 km per hour. For example, in situations where a cyclist or vehicle has ignored the right-of-way and crosses the vehicle's path, an accident can be prevented up to approximately 60 km per hour. If the system detects the end of a traffic tailback with no possibility of evasion, it can respond at an early stage up to 130 km per hour to lessen the effects of the accident greatly. Even at speeds up to 100 km per hour, an impending collision can be avoided by autonomous braking. The traffic following behind is warned by activation of the adaptive brake lights while braking and by the hazard warning flashes when stationary.
Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing.
Convenience in driving also involves keeping a safe distance. ACC assists the driver within the limits of the system. The system scans the area in front of the vehicle using radar and detects the traffic ahead. An inattentive driver changing lanes, ACC detects the vehicle, brakes and keeps the set distance. Then the system accelerates to the previously set speed. New ACC now also detects speed limits and can consider route information, such as roundabouts, intersections and bends. Using map data, the system permanently checks the route, like a personal navigator. ACC indicates bend ahead. The assistant brakes automatically to a suitable speed through the bend, and then accelerates again. Using map data, ACC also recognizes speed limits and reacts. ACC automatically adjusts the speed within system limits. In addition, the multifunction camera scans traffic signs along the route and compares the vehicle's speed with the route information. Naturally, the driver can override the system at any time, keeping a comfortable distance, observing speed limits better. Adaptive Cruise Control ACC with Predictive Cruise Control. Emergency Assist is the Volkswagen assistant for medical emergencies. The system watches the activities of the driver, accelerating, steering and braking, and can help to reduce possible results of an accident within the limits of the system. Emergency Assist monitors the area around the car. The driver does not react. Emergency Assist detects this and requests to take over. Jolts of the brake and seat belt pose an obvious request for the driver to act. If the Arteon still does not detect any driver activity, it brakes automatically. At the same time, the hazard lights alert other road users. If the system detects traffic ahead with its radar, it keeps the distance, while the car is kept within its lane, even in bends. New radar and ultrasound are used to monitor traffic at the sides and behind the car as well. If the system detects a free lane, the Arteon can, for the first time, change automatically to reach the outer lane and brake to a standstill. Naturally, the driver can override the assistant and take over control at any time. The assistant for medical emergencies, Emergency Assist. The proactive occupant protection system assists the driver in critical situations. Within system limits, it can minimize the consequences of a traffic accident. Unexpected wet patch on a bend. The electronic stability control ESC detects that the Arteon is starting to skid. It needs to respond quickly. The system tightens the front seat belts. The windows are closed to just a crack, otherwise the head airbags cannot provide optimum protection. If the sliding sunroof is open, it is closed as well. Everything turned out fine. The Arteon is firmly back on track. New. Using radar, the proactive occupant protection system also monitors the area behind the Arteon. A vehicle is on a collision course. The assistant detects this and reacts. Fast hazard light flashing informs other drivers of the impending hazard. The windows and sunroof are closed. The front seat belts are tightened. When the hazard has passed, the seat belts are loosened again. Prepared for serious situations. The proactive occupant protection system.